Good morning, everyone. I just want to thank the Williams brothers for singing and making up the song, I'm Still Here. After all that I've gone through, all that I've been through, I can still tell God, thank you for allowing me to see this beautiful day. As I stand before you today, it's April 14th, 2016. I was in my car and I was driving, and I'm still in an area in my life where I'm hurting and searching. And in the process of time, God dropped 3 words into my mind. And he said, don't clock out. Your time has been approved. And I just want to encourage someone today. I usually don't share my personal life with anybody, but God began to let me know that everything that happens in this world, it happens for a reason, and it's been approved by God. It's the way that his glory comes out. It's a way for us to encourage someone. It's a way for us to tell someone that you can make it regardless of what you're going through. What we face in our daily occupation, what we face in our lives, whether it's been a day, a week, maybe it's been a year, it could have been 6 months, it could have been 10 years. But what we have faced in our life, it is something that the Bible says that before you was even thought of in your mother's womb, before I even formed you, he said, I knew you. I knew what you was going to be, where you was going to be. He said, I even knew the number of hairs that you have on your head. I knew your name. So, with that said, we were created for God, for his glory. We was created to worship. We was created to praise, to honor, and give him thanks for what he's done. I just want to share my testimony with you, because there is someone out there that might have gone through the same thing or going through some things right now, and you might be telling yourself, I'm tired. I just want to clock out. I just want to quit. I just want to give up. I can't do this anymore. I stand before you here today. 23 years of my life. I left home at the age of 18 years old. Got married on a journey for a happy life. In the midst of that journey, I had a lot of ups. I had a lot of downs. I've gone through some things. I had some trials. I had some tribulations. I went through some things in my marriage. My husband was unfaithful to me. Yet I trusted God. I believed in God. I kept on praying. There was many of times I wanted to give up. Many of times I wanted to quit. I wanted to throw in the towel. I had to look at myself one day in the mirror, and God had to speak to me to let me know it's not about what you do to others, but it's what you do that God allows you to go through. Sometimes in life, we're going to go through some things. I have a praying mother, and I'm not going to say everything between me and my mother was always great. Sometimes, we didn't see eye to eye with the scriptures, and we might not have grew up with the same ideal of the scriptures growing up in time. But I want to say that I learned something from my mother. No matter what came up in my mother's life, in my family's life, in my spiritual life, I always saw my mother get on her knees and she prayed about everything. I could truly say that she's a praying woman. A woman that prays without ceasing. A woman that prays and she say, Lord, I want you to hear me. A woman that goes into her room and she prays. But I want to share my testimony with you because, like I said, somebody's going through some things. You see, I got married at a young age, and you get married and you don't know what things is all about. You learn as you grow. Sometimes you maybe have some general experience, but you don't know the ideal of life until you actually get in it. And I just want to encourage you. I'm going to encourage you from a lot of different aspects of life. And you might say, well, she's young and she don't know what she's talking about. But I have gone through a lot of things and I wanted to clock out. And that's why I said, don't clock out. Your time has been approved. In 2000, I started having some financial problems at home. My finances began to get low. Of course, a lot of people don't know I had 3 kids. My second son, he passed away, and I had to deal with it. It was very emotional. When you carry someone, you have someone, you get attached to that person, they don't come home with you. It's very emotional. You don't know how to do it, and you start to blame yourself, and you go back and you like, Lord, what did I do, for my son? But then you have to go back to the word. He said that we are here just for a moment. What you have attained is because I allowed you to attain it. It took me some years to, get over my son's death, and each day I still remember it. As the years go by, I remember. It was something that I had to get through. But in the midst of all of my financial problems and my financial down settings, when I first got married, we was learning each other. When I say learning each other, we were learning each other. And I'm not afraid to say it. I had some marital problems. I had some unfaithfulness that came into my household. And throughout all that, we went into foreclosure. Only having one income coming in the home, it can be very hard when you have bills. And I've gone through 2 foreclosures in my life. Not just foreclosures, I ended up having to file bankruptcy and try to keep my home, and refinancing, try to keep it. Still lost both homes. Had to move in with my mother-in-law. But through it all, God was there. I'm saying this to say this. I have had some good days, some bad days, and I've had some days where I didn't even know if I was going to make it, and I threw up my hand. Like I said, I don't really discuss a lot of things. And I had got to a point in my life where I had to lean on prayer like I have never leaned on prayer before. And I'm going to tell you that prayer works. I don't know if you're trying it. I don't know if you're still trying it. I don't know if you stopped trying it because you felt like it didn't work. But I want to tell you that when you pray the right way and when you get really connected to God, God will come and talk to you. God will send you someone. And through my going through this past 6 months, 6.5 months, God has sent some people in my life that I would never thought that would have been there. And we've been praying and we've been connecting and talking to God. And I'm here to let you know that if you pray and be faithful and sincere when you pray, God will come through for you. God will look out for you. God will bless you. And I said that to say this. I've been through 2 foreclosures. I've been through 4 evictions. I've been through 2 move-outs on my own. I've been with my husband not having a job, not keeping a job through his unfaithfulness that he's done. And I stayed there. And a lot of times people will tell me, you should have left. Why did you stay there? God made me stay there for a reason. There was plenty of times I wanted to leave. I thought about my kids, and people may say, well, I I have kids. Yeah, that was the first thing that came to my mind. I have 2 kids. I'm going to stay here and I'm going to try to pray that God work this out. And I did that. Whether it was the right thing or whether it was the wrong thing, but I stayed there. When God has given you a love, I'm talking about real love, true love. You can tell whether or not if you love someone. You can tell. And because when you love someone, it hurts. When you love someone, it brings tears to your eyes. When you love someone, it seems like all life around you just stop and you wonder what is going on. And you wonder, am I in a dream? Is this a nightmare? But still in the midst of that, God gets you through it all. And I get words from a lot of different, people perspective of what I should have done. You should have did this, you should have did that. I'm on God's time. This is not my time. When he went to the cross and he died and he rose again, he paid a price for my time. And that's why I tell you today, don't clock out. My time has been approved. We're here based on the time that God has allowed us to be here. Not only have I had marital problems, I had financial problems. Yeah, I've been on top of the world. I was a 6-figure person making 6 digits a year. But how many of you know that God can take all of that and bring you down to 0? And he did just that. I have been on top of the world and I have had my world turned upside down. Because that's what God has allowed for my path. I've lived in a $853,000 house in a gated community in my lifetime. And I've also been homeless. This is my path. Yes, I've been homeless. Nowhere to go. But I was thankful for the persons and the people that have been there in my life. That gave me an opportunity. To give me something to say, don't quit. Don't clock out. Yeah, I've been reduced all the way down to a room. Yes, I slept in my car before. I ate at hotels before. But it was an opportunity for God to do what he does best. I'm here to tell you that in the midst of your testing in real life, and some of you have gone to school before, whether it's been elementary, middle school, high school, college, or university, you know the drill. When you're taking the test, the instructor is silent. The teacher is silent. Nobody talks during a test. Nobody. So to all the ones that are out there, and you think that God is not hearing you, you feel that God is not seeing you in the midst of your test, in the midst of your going through, I'm here to let you know that God is there. He sees you in your test. He sees you while you're going through. I'm a woman, and I'm not perfect. Through my imperfections, God has allowed me to go through a path. God has allowed me to go through a journey. And some things in life that I've gone through, I'm not even sure why I've gone through it. But God has his purpose. God has his reasons. I said today, as I said last week, I'm hurting, but I'm searching. I'm not searching for anyone. I'm searching for the path and the will of God that he has laid out before me. And I want to encourage someone because I really believe in God. I'm a true evangelist. And I believe that all things happen for a reason. And some of my story may be helpful to you. But to the ones that want to end their life, to the ones that want to take their life, to the ones that want to commit suicide, I've been in that area before. Yes, I have had 2 people in my family wanted to give up, wanted to end their life. And I was there to encourage them through scripture, through prayer, through people helping me pray. That you don't have to do this. Depression don't have to overtake you. And I began to pray, and God worked things out. I'm here to let you know that you can make it. I'm here to also let you know that if you've been going to school for a long time and you still haven't got to that point yet where you're finished, let me tell you something. I have went to college. I have been going to college for a long time. I stopped going to college for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes I question myself, why did I stop? A couple times in my life, I had to be a caregiver, and it wasn't by choice. It was because that's what God wanted in my path. My first time being a caregiver was to an elderly woman, my husband's grandmother. She's known by the name of Roberta Dickey. She's passed and gone. But it was part of my path and my journey. I was a caregiver to her. I've never done it before. I never gone through school, never did anything. But God gave me a heart to care and love elderly people, young people, children. I have a heart of love from God. And yeah, people have done things to me in life. Sometimes it brought tears to my eyes. Sometimes it brought me to my knees and it made me cry. While my loved ones was out getting their education and fulfilling their dreams and being successful, I was at home being a caregiver. For over 3.5 years, I was a caregiver. And it didn't stop there. It came around a second time, and I had to be a caregiver to a guy by the name of David Livingston. Why God chose me, I do not know. If he ever wants me to know, he'll let me know. But sometimes God tests us to see where we at. I care for him. I know he done some things in life and people don't like him and people may say things. But I care for him. As my mother would always say, she said, just keep doing good. She said, after a while, it'll pay off. And that's what I did. Nobody wanted to help me take care of him. Nobody. Not even his own daughter. She never came to the house to say, let me change a sheet, let me do this. No. I was married to my husband. He was working all the time. And when he didn't have a job, he said he was going to school or whatever he was doing. I have no idea. But I know that I was there. My kids would get into extracurricular activities so that they didn't have to help. And I would talk to God and pray to God. And yeah, I would question sometimes. I was like, well, this man got a lot of kids. Why don't his kids want to take care of him? And I said to myself, I say, if this was my mother and my father, I would take care of them. So I did that until I couldn't do it anymore. I got tired and I got sick with my leg. But it still didn't stop me. My mother became ill, and God allowed me to be there for her. For 6 months, I was there to help her gain the stability and come back to herself as a woman. I was there to help her learn how to walk again, talk again, think again. I've never been to caregiving school before, but I was there. Morning, noon, and night, helping her, coaching her. I didn't understand what God was doing. And the day my mother was walking again, talking again, thinking again, and to the way that God has given her the ability to do so. And I was like, wow. And to let you really see that we don't know the thoughts of God. As I told you, I became homeless, and God allowed a gentleman to let me live in a room. I got down to a room. I had to leave a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. And he brought me all the way down to a room. In that room, it was still a closet, and I was still able to pray. And that's just what I did. I prayed in that closet. I talked to God. And I began to tell God that I loved him. And I didn't understand what was going on in my marriage, in my work life, in my schooling, in my life. But I cried out to God in that closet, and I prayed, and I wrote letters, and I talked to God, I wrote in my journal. How many of you know that after being there, I began to become a caregiver for the 4th time in my life, and I didn't know why. God had me there. I began to take care of a man, and I didn't understand. And I was in the kitchen one day, and I was washing dishes, and I began to say, God, I got to go through this again? That's what I said to myself. Not knowing that God was dealing with me on something, and he was helping me on something. And he had me there for a reason. But my 4th person, his name was Andrew Paul Gordon. And I cared for him as if he was my own. And I would be there for him. If he needed me to pick him up, I picked him up. If he needed, I fixed him breakfast and snacks and lunch and dinner. I brought him out the room, and we would talk, and we would play checkers. He didn't talk very much. I didn't talk very much. And we would play checkers, and we would do sometimes 8 games, 10 games. He would win a lot of them. I would lose a lot of them. I would win sometimes. But to let you know that God is in the midst of everything, I was still there to care for someone. In the midst of my going through, I was caring for someone. And that chapter of my life ended, and I moved on. I'm very thankful, after being homeless, that God allowed my father to find me a place to stay. I've always had a fear of being evicted and thrown out, because it had happened so many times in my life. Since I've left home, I've moved 9 times in my life. Plenty of times I wanted to give up and throw in the towel, but God was right there. I've had some misfortunes in my life, but God was right there, and he was with me. I just want to tell you that no matter what you're going through in life, don't give up. Don't quit. And don't throw in the towel. As I was telling you before, I have been going to school for a long time. I stopped for a lot of different reasons in life. I stopped to be a caregiver. I stopped to be there for my kids, my son in his 11th and his 12th grade year. I stopped there to be for my daughter. I stopped to help my husband, my mother, my family, and also the mission of God. I struggled going to school, trying to be a wife, a mother, a caregiver, trying to work a full-time job, trying to be an evangelist and still do the work of God. I would leave work, still go to the nursing homes, go to the hospitals, spend time with the kids, help them with their homework. But I never gave up. I don't care if it was 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock at night. I would still try to do my schoolwork. I struggled to do my schoolwork. And this is a testimony for some people that have stopped going and didn't finish. I got to a point in my life, my lights have been off. My water has been off. Of course, when you're going to school, you know that you need internet, you need power. I would go to the hotel and do my homework because I didn't want to quit. I didn't want to give up. And it's been many years that I wanted to give up and just quit and say, I can't do this anymore. Sometimes I took one class. Sometimes I took 2 classes and 3 classes, and I struggled. And last year, October, November, and December, I have never struggled so much in school before, but I couldn't quit. I was going through some marital problems, and I just want to give a shout out to Liberty University for their praying team, their praying ministry. My professors that gave me the time that I needed, they prayed for me, encouraged me, and told me to hang in there. They might not have saw what I was going through, but I was struggling so much. I passed my last 2 classes in 2015 of December after going through a great struggle. Going through a separation. Going through having to move out of my house. Going through leg problems. And still trying to work on at the same time. I struggled. I started again back in January, and I struggled. And if this the Lord's will, I'm going to be graduating again from Liberty University May of 2016. And it's been a long road. A very long road. But I'm here to tell you that don't give up. Success is what you make it. Success is how you decide to go through it. Success is you. How far are you willing to go? How much are you willing to put in? That's what success is. Your dream is not everybody's dream. Some people don't see your dream because they don't see your struggle. They don't see your heartache. But remember, if you got a dream and if you got a goal, hang on to it. I want to give a shout out to my father, a true man of God. I want to tell you thank you for being there for me. He's a bishop of a church in Sanford, Florida. I want to thank my church family for being there for me. I want to thank my mother for being very inspirational to me. I want to thank Irma Jean Bradley for being there for me. Since 1992, she's been in my life to help me through my journey. I'm here to tell you that God will put some people in your life. Some people He put in your life for a lifetime. And there's some people He put in your life for a short time. But I want to say, Irma Jean, I thank you from the bottom of my heart to the depths of my soul. Sometimes I couldn't talk to my mother, but she was there for me when I had nowhere else to go. I want to give a big shout out. I call him my brother, to Jeffrey Kendrick and Mother Kendrick. Through all of my marital problems, my financial problems, my foreclosures, my evictions, problems with my children, problems on my job, I want to give a shout out to Elder Kendrick and Mother Kendrick. They've been my rock. They've been my backbone. They've been my wall when I wanted to give up so many times. Whether it was 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. They opened their door to me. And we prayed at their house. Praying in their room. Touching and agreeing that God will come in and change things. They were there for me. So I just want to tell them thank you from the bottom of my heart to the depths of my soul. I thank my sister for being there when I needed her the most. I want to thank my brother for being there. We may not see eye to eye on everything, But we're still family, and he's still my brother. And I just want to tell my brother and my sister that I love them dearly. They're always in my heart. Will always be there because we're family, no matter what. I didn't choose them, but it's who God chose for them to be in my life, and they're my family. I want to thank Mr. Kenneth Gordon. He's also a minister. I thank you for allowing me a place to live. If it was only 2 months, I just want to tell you thank you. I want to thank my kids because I would have given up plenty of times if it wasn't for them. We may not be seeing eye to eye right now, and we may not even be talking right now. But I want to tell my kids, thank you, because you pushed me to not give up. You pushed me, Alatiana, to stay there. Whether it was a good choice or a bad choice. In 2008, I was going to leave. But I want to say, you gave me the hope to keep praying in 2008. And I want to just say that if you are a mother and you are in a situation and you don't know what to do, pray to God first. It's okay for people to talk to you and tell you what to do, but make sure you pray to God and allow God to lead you and guide you in your life. And I just want to tell my kids that I love you from the bottom of my heart, my second and my third heartbeats. I love you dearly. If I never get a chance to talk to you again, I want you to know that I love you. I put my life on hold. I put my life on the line just for you too, because it was a mother's love. And what a mother won't do for her children when she loves them. I just want to say I wish you all the best, and I love you all dearly. I want to thank Mr. Perry for being there for me. He's been a very true friend. He don't realize how much friend he's been to me. When I lost my home through foreclosure and I needed extra funds to move into a place, my husband wasn't there. Nobody else was there, but he stepped in to assist me when I needed it the most. When I needed a roof over my head, he was there for me. And I just want to give a shout out to Mr. Jamon Perry and tell you thank you for being there. You had no idea what I was going through.